Hello ladies and gents, and welcome back to the next level of my no-hits playthrough. It's in an area called the High Wall of Lothric. It's a pretty challenging run at first, but good fun. Depending on what you call fun, of course, since this is Dark Souls 3, it will repetitively finish you off with unwavering and absolute brutality. But once you learn how to overcome the obstacles, it's not as bad. So I'll be sharing everything that I learned with you so as to hopefully save you time and a lot of rage quitting, buying new controllers, keypads, mouses, whichever. Alright, cool. So once this is lit, just head straight over to take out this hollow soldier hiding behind the wall here to prevent him sniping at us later on. Pick up whatever he drops. If he drops anything, it will usually be bolts, light crossbows, deserter armor, and if you're lucky, Titanite shards and a raw gem. Once that's done, wait over here until the dog spots us. I usually use the third and the fourth statue as a point of reference, so once he passes those, drop down to finish him off. So these staff hounds are particularly vulnerable to fire damage, so if you're carrying anything of the sort, it's probably your best bet. These large hollow soldiers can be particularly difficult at the beginning of the game, since our weapons are so underleveled, so hitting with a fireball and then dropping down on him gives me enough damage to finish him off without rinsing my stamina. Alright, so as soon as this hollow soldier starts to wind up his attack, bear to the right and roll underneath this attack, and you should be able to get a critical backstab on him. Depending on what weapon they're carrying, be it an axe or a halberd, there'll be a potential to drop, along with Titanite shards and raw gems. Alright, so just keep an eye on your stamina as we're running up here, because there's going to be a hollow soldier with a crossbow who's going to shoot at us immediately. And to his right there's going to be a Pus of Man also. So we can take out the Pus of Man immediately before he transforms, but doing so won't allow us to pick up his fixed item drop, which would be a Titanite Shard and an Ember. So depending on how much you need those items, take him out early or after if you wish. If you do decide to take him out when he's transformed, once again fire is the best strategy. So if you have fireballs or fire bombs, those are the best weapons to use. Alright, so as we come down over here to pick up this item, just be slightly cautious, because when this guy over here is not admiring the view, he's moving in to attack us. So you want to take out these undead witches before they start screeching for backup. The soldier starts moving in to attack us before we even reach the end of the staircase, so counter-attack him with the fastest move that we have and save enough stamina to finish off his main. I use the breakable boxes here as a point of reference for the best place to stand, to stealthily take out this undead in front of us, without being ambushed by other sleeping undead to our left. This soldier usually has his guard up, so the best thing to do is chuck 2 fireballs to break down his guard and follow up with a visceral attack. So as soon as we reach the end of the staircase, there's going to be a wyvern that swoops down to rain fire. The best position to stand in is to the right on that wooden platform, alternatively we can make a mad dash for the door. Just watch out for and weave in between any undead that are up here, and hopefully they get taken out by the wyvern fire. Dispose of the stragglers as they funnel through the entrance. Alright, so I didn't have enough foresight here to purchase enough arrows while I was at Firelink Shrine to defeat this wyvern, so I'm going to have to return here with enough arrows to defeat him and collect the loot which his flames are guarding. Since we'll be revisiting this area, I'll be returning back with an undead hunter charm to pacify and loot this mimic without the need for violence. You can tell he's a mimic by the way the chain is shaped into an S shape rather than a C shape. He's holding a deep battle axe, which is a great weapon this early on, so feel free to take him out now if you wish. and I usually just allow this knight to pass. If you feel like reaping his souls, however, feel free. They're vulnerable to lightning and frost, and resistant to bleed damage, and they have the potential to drop the respective weapon that they're carrying, along with the Lothric knight attire, Titanite shards, and embers. Watch out for the hollow assassins lurking in the darkness. Walking in carelessly will likely end in an ambush. They're vulnerable to poison and toxic, and will drop daggers, deserter trousers, throwing knives, Titanite shards, and raw gems. Alright, cool, so we made it to the second bonfire. I'm going to quickly equip the longbow that we collected earlier, along with some arrows, firebombs, and the binoculars. Also, lighting the second bonfire here will trigger Leonhard to appear in Firelink Shrine. He will gift us his cracked red eye orbs, which we can use for early game invasion. Okay, so as soon as we pass this archway, it should trigger the hollow soldier at the foot of the ladder to start climbing, so pick up the item as fast as possible and take out this guy as fast as possible, and it should give us perfect timing to kick this hollow off the edge and finish him off. Okay, so there's going to be another Pus of Man on the rooftop over here. If you want his fixed loot, wait until he transforms before taking him out. He also has a small chance of dropping a dark gem, which can be used to infuse our weapons with dark magic. I found this to be the best path to take in order to pin the crystal lizard between your weapon and the wall, preventing him from scampering away. If you have ranged attacks and the patience, this may be the best location to snipe the winged knight from. He's vulnerable to frost damage and resistant to strike, poison, and bleed. He has a small chance to drop the winged knight halberd along with Titanite shards and blessed gems. I usually peek out from the corner here to entice this hollow soldier to attack me with a bolt, finishing him off before he does so. Moving any closer will trigger some other hollows to scale the walls and attack you in ambush, so send those wretched undead back to the depths from whence they came. This next part may take a bit of practice. As soon as you pass the archway, sprint to the red banner and position yourself as I have. When the knight emerges and takes his first step out of the doorway, start moving in behind him, keeping an eye on his helmet so as to take advantage of his tunnel vision. From there, stalk him and finish him off as you please. When you enter this room, be prepared to take out the first enemy and evade the second's attack in quick succession. If any of those praying hollow soldiers escape the wrath of the Pus of Man overhead, they'll find a way to scale the walls and ambush you here. Be sure to pick up this undead hunter charm hidden in the vase. Doing so will allow us to loot the mimic with ease. So it took me a little while to figure out that this is probably the best position to snipe this hollow from. If we leave him for a bit later on, he'll find a way of spamming us with firebombs, and since there are explosive barrels down there, we don't really want that. Okay, so firebombs and fireballs are the best means of attack from here. You may have already noticed that the fireballs have the ability to attract the attention of nearby fiends, so I use it to take out the starved hound and attract the attention of his companions, throwing more if need be. Once you have a clear shot, you want to start spamming them with firebombs, because they're better at stun locking than fireballs are. You may want to utilize the time spent waiting for the hollow soldiers to re-emerge from their hiding points by assassinating the hollow assassin. Okay, so now we're back to the area in which we spotted the Winged Knight. You may want to attack him from this position using ranged attacks, or alternatively, head down to face him. My strategy against him here will be to kite him around the central fountain, slowly picking him off with ranged attacks. He's vulnerable to frost and resistant to strike, poison, toxic and bleed, and he has a small chance to drop either the Winged Knight halberd, a Titanite Shard, or a blessed gem upon death. So there are a couple more items to the right that you may be interested in picking up, including a Ring of Sacrifice, which will allow us to retain our swords upon death. These hollows will potentially be the last ones we face before returning to the bonfire. They can be easy enough, especially if you manage to knock them off the walls that they're scaling, but be alert as they do move with extreme speed and can stun knock you to death. Okay, so this is the shortcut that returns us to the start of the level and the first bonfire. I'm going to go back to Firelink Shrine from here and pick up and drop off a few things there before I do the second part of the level. Okay, cool. Welcome back to Firelink Shrine. First off, I'm going to use some of those souls that we collected earlier during the run to level up and purchase equipment as necessary.
Welcome home, Ashen One. Speak thine heart's desire. Very well. Then touch the darkness within me. Take nourishment from these sovereignless souls. Farewell, Ashen One. May the flames guide thee.
Ah, well met, Ashen One. How may I be of service?
Okay, so I'm going to be buying enough arrows here to take out the wyvern in High Wall of Lothric, and if you've been watching from the start, you may remember me mentioning an area that's unlocked by the tower key. We still don't have enough souls to do that just yet, but there is a small exploit that will allow us to get some of the items that are up there for the time being.
Ashen One, be sure to bring more souls.
We're going to be visiting an NPC which reminds me of Snuggly the Crow, and you can trade a few items with her, including the Prism Stone, Homeward Bone, Large Leather Shield, all of which can be purchased from the Shrine Handmaiden. Okay, so this next jump takes a bit of practice and patience, and I don't think it will be patched out because to me it seems like it was placed there deliberately, although I could be wrong. To do it, I position myself on the land where the grass meets the rocky pavement, and then I run in a straight line aiming between the root that sticks out facing us and the one facing left. Once your foot is halfway up the stump near the bulbous knot, make a sharp right and hopefully you'll land on the roof. Okay, cool, so this is where we meet Snuggly the Crow. I'll leave a list of tradable items in the description.
Me, pickle pea. Me, bumperum.
Be sure to pick up the Estus Shard over here and take out the Illusory Wall which leads to the covetous Silver Serpent Ring. If we remember to light the second bonfire in the High Wall of Lothric, Leonhard will now be waiting for us here to gift us with the cracked red eye orbs.
Unkindled, are we? And fast on the trail of the Lords absconded? Then these red eyes are for you. Use them to pillage embers and briefly heighten your strength for your duty. What else are unkindled ashes good for?
Okay, so I'm going to quickly imbue my katana with a raw gem, which will remove damage from scaling but increase the raw base damage of the weapon and also reinforce it to +2. This pretty much suits my build at the moment because I've invested very little in strength and dexterity, so depending on your playstyle, mod your weapon as you see fit.
Well met. 'Tis good to see ye in good health. What needs smithing this day? There are 2 ways to smith weapons. Simple reinforcement is one, and infusion the other. Reinforcement is straightforward. It strengthens a weapon without altering its property. Infusion is a more advanced form of smithing that infuses an element. Reinforcement requires titanite, and infusion requires gems. Bring the stones, and I'll do the smithing. It's my purpose, after all. In battle, your weapons are your only friends. Forge them well, and they won't let you down. Another matter. Infusing weapons with gems requires a special kind of coal. My humble coals won't be any use infusing more unusual gems. I know, it's an awful shame, but it's all I have. Oh, please don't give me that look. Believe it or not, I'm quite thin-skinned. Oh, by the by, if you find any Estus shards, bring them here. They can be used to reinforce either of your Estus flasks. Without those flasks, you'd want for life or focus. And they'll always stay with you. Why not treat them well? Huh? Pretty be careful. I don't want to see my work squandered.
Okay, so before we return to the High Wall of Lothric, make sure you equip the Undead Hunter Charm, which will allow us to take out the Mimic with ease. This tool, used to hunt down the undead, blocks Estus recovery within a limited area, used long ago by Lloyd's cleric knights on their undead hunts. Although Allfather Lloyd is long forgotten by the Way of the White, his hunts have lived on, and this charm allows one to challenge the undead without fear of tenacious healing. If you picked up the covetous Silver Serpent Ring, don't forget to equip that. It's described as a silver ring depicting a snake that could have been, but never was, a dragon. Fallen foes yield more souls. Snakes are known as creatures of great avarice, devouring prey even larger than themselves by swallowing them whole. If one's shackles are cause for discontent, perhaps it is time for some good old-fashioned greed. This ring's particularly useful because I'm going to take out the Dancer of Boreal Valley, and she drops a pretty heavy payload of 60,000 souls. With the Ring of Greed equipped, it becomes 66,000, and that's pretty useful early on in the game. Okay, so welcome back to the High Wall of Lothric. I'm just going to head down and backtrack over myself to the areas which I described earlier, which would be to take out the dragon, take out the mimic, and also visit the Npc Greirat and release him from his imprisonment. So you want to send this mimic off to sleep by hitting him with an undead hunter charm, making sure that he's in the area of effect. You'll be able to tell that he's gone to sleep when his teeth curl inwards and the loot sign appears. From this position you can get a few free hits in before he reawakens, which is signified by him stretching his arms out. You can either try and finish him off quickly, or throw another hunter charm, or simply leave him be. He also has the chance to drop a headgear, which is called the Symbol of Avarice. It increases the item drop rate at the expense of health. It used to be a good method to drop your health down and activate ring buffs, like the one on the red Clearstone ring, so I'm slightly bummed out I couldn't get that to drop. Placing these hollows into the wyvern fire is usually the easiest method to take them out. Once they're all dead, we can focus on the wyvern itself. This can be done by positioning ourselves in a safe zone and bombarding him with arrows or magic. They're vulnerable to lightning and frost and resistant to poison, toxic and bleed, and upon death will drop a large Titanite Shard. Now we're going to head down and free Greirat using the cell key that we collected earlier in this level.
Ah. You're no jailer, are you? No, you're from far away. And judging by the bell, you must be some of that unkindled ash. Remarkable. If that's true, then I have a favor to ask. Below the high wall is a musty little town. Not the home of any lord, just a very old settlement of undead. An old woman, Loretta, lives there. Please, give her this ring. I'm not asking for charity. In fact, if you do this for me, I'll be sure to repay you in kind. I may be a petty thief, but I've more wits than most royalty. What do you say then, huh? Very well. I humbly place my faith in you. I am Greirat of the undead settlement, and I promise to assist you. Give this ring to old Loretta at the base of the high wall. Do your part, and I'll do mine.
He's going to return to Firelink Shrine now, so if you want to purchase some items from him, feel free to return to Firelink Shrine and he'll be there waiting. Okay, so round 2 with this wing knight's going to be significantly easier because my katana is infused and refined. The best means of attack is to jump so as to land on his head, which should cause him to retaliate with an attack. This can be foreseen and avoided, allowing us to set up for the backstab and the finisher. So as this Lothric knight moves behind the pillar and out of view, launch a fireball to attract his gaze, whilst we sneak up and finish him off with a backstab. Quick pro tip: when you're approaching for the backstab, you want to be positioned closer to their right weapon hand rather than their left shield hand. This is because they always seem to turn counterclockwise to the left, making it harder to land a backstab from this position. These two knights can be challenging to take out simultaneously, so this is one of those battles that are probably better off not fought. Instead, I'm going to go straight for their leader, their Alpha Papa, and take him out. He's known as the Red-Eyed Lothric Knight of the Royal Guard. He has a small chance to drop the Lothric Knight Sword, Crossbow, Shield, and Lothric Knight Armour sets, along with the Titanite Shard, Embers, and a Refined Gem as a fixed drop for the first time you defeat him. He can be easily approached stealthily for a backstab, which can be followed up by 2 charge attacks, and once you learn his moveset, he can be fairly easily parried. Welcome to Dark Souls 3. Bitch. Now we're going to speak to the High Priestess Emma, who will gift us with the items needed to face the second boss, Vort of the Boreal Valley. I should also mention that if you want to cheese the Dancer, do not defeat the second boss, Vort, first, as you'll need the summon sign of the Swordmaster, which can be found outside Vort's boss room, only if you kill him at Firelink Shrine. I'll leave the cheese method in the description when I can.
Ah, the wait has been long, unkindled one. I am Emma, High Priestess of Lothric Castle. Allow me to speak frankly. You will not find the Lords of Cinder here. They have left, gone, to their churning homes converging at the base of this castle. head to the bottom of the high wall. Forge on through the great gate and raise this banner to proceed. This farewell gift is for you. It is the insignia of an old covenant. If you fear trespassers, dark spirits drawn by the embers, then etch this upon your heart, and the old Concord will beckon noble blue sentinels to hunt these foul spirits. Unkindled one, head to the high wall's base. Go through the great gate and raise this banner to proceed. But beware, the dog keeps a close eye on things. The vile watchdog of the Boreal Valley.
I'm going to go ahead and kill her to unlock the demon she seems to be guarding.
What on earth? Lord, he must be. My dear Prince Lothric.
Alright, so here comes the demon dancer of the Boreal Valley. She is vulnerable to lightning, dark and bleed attacks and invulnerable to frost, poison and toxic. The best strategy may be to learn to avoid her attacks and counter quickly before she recovers, all of which can be noted in the upcoming battle. The most succinct and best advice that I may be able to give is as simple as trying to target her right cheek in the first stage of the battle and trying to target her left cheek in the second stage of the battle. Furthermore, I'll try and best explain my methods of evade and counter. When she telegraphs a grab, learn to roll behind her and release the rolling charge attack if your weapon permits it. Learn to bait her 2-combo slam swing attack by staying on her right and evading and countering whenever possible. When she does her twirl attack, wait for the last minute before rolling in towards her to get in another hit, and use staggers which kick in at 75%, 50%, 25% of her HP to your advantage. When she reaches her second stage, she'll summon another sword and perform a blade dance, which can be avoided by moving in the opposite direction to which she initiates the attack. Finally, when she opens the Gates of Hell, position yourself behind her and charge up for as long as you can before she claps you. Welcome back to Firelink Shrine. I'm going to spend the souls collected leveling up 2 points in endurance and then using the rest to purchase the Dancer's armor sets from the Handmaiden along with the Tower Key, which will finally give us access to the rest of the items in Firelink Shrine.
Welcome home, Ashen One. Speak thine heart's desire. Very well. Then touch the darkness within me. Take nourishment from these sovereignless souls. Ashen One, may I pose thee a question? Has the little Lord Ludleth spoken to thee of any curious matters? I sense that he possesseth some knowledge of a thing once most precious, or most terrible, now lost to the Firekeepers. Pray tell, is it a matter of which I should be apprised? Farewell, Ashen One. May the flames guide thee.
Ah, well met, Ashen One. How may I be of service?
Crown worn by the Dancer of the Boreal Valley, the mirage-like aura veil is said to be an article of the old gods, permitted only for direct descendants of the royal family. Armour worn by the Dancer of the Boreal Valley, the black eyes of Pontiff eventually transformed the dancer into a beastly creature, her armour fusing with her own hide. Gauntlets worn by the Dancer of the Boreal Valley. Leggings worn by the Dancer of the Boreal Valley.
Ashen One, be sure to bring more souls.
Alright, so now that we've purchased the Dancer's armor set, I'm going to give a quick showcase until I pick up the Firekeeper's robes in the Tower Bar. It looks pretty awesome, especially on female characters, and it kinda reminds me of Raiden's exoskeleton suit. It almost feels like you're wearing dragon scales, so that's also pretty cool. But since the next area I've chosen to explore is the King's Consumed Garden, I'll be needing armor with high toxic resistance, and the Firekeeper's robes slightly outclass the Dancers in that respect, so I've chosen to go with those in the end.
Oh, hello, you're back. And in one piece. Well, now it's time I do my part. Whatever trinket you need, speak up. Just don't ask me where I got them.
Now I'm going to buy enough fire arrows for the next area and go through Greirat's item descriptions, so feel free to skip to when we're heading up the tower. Red moss clump used as maggot repellent reduces bleeding build-up. Bleeding builds up when attacked by sharp blades or spikes, and once triggered causes severe damage. Use this moss clump before it reaches that point. Small throwing knife, thrown at enemies to inflict damage. Most items choose their wielder, and only experience can improve their effectiveness. True strength can be gained in no other way. It scales B in strength and A in dexterity. Beast urn, attached to a string and filled with black powder, thrown behind and explodes, inflicting fire damage. No different to a firebomb, save for the direction in which it is thrown. Enables a different fighting style and flexibility in adjusting to one's circumstances. It scales A in strength and C in dexterity. The Bandit's Knife, a wide, single-edged, short sword. Primarily a slicing weapon, but its blade is crafted to cause bleeding, making it a favourite of lowly thieves and bandits. Its skill is Quick Step, instantly step behind or around the side of foes, especially effective when locked on to targets. It requires 6 strength and 12 dexterity to wield. Longsword, a balanced, widely used standard straight sword, inflicts reliable standard damage as well as high thrust damage. Its skill is Stance. While in stance, use normal attacks to break a foe's guard from below, and strong attacks to slash upwards with a forward lunge. It requires 10 strength and 10 dexterity to wield. The Bastard Sword, a widely used heavy greatsword normally wielded with 2 hands. Broad horizontal sweeping attacks makes this sword effective against multiple enemies, but unwieldy in narrow spaces. Its skill is Stomp. Use one's weight to lunge forward with a low stance and increased poise. and follow up with a strong attack for an upward slash. It requires 16 strength and 10 dexterity to wield. Iron Hammer, designed for use in battle, a common weapon for clerics. This bladeless strike weapon is effective against most foes and can break the guard of a shield. Its skill is Perseverance. Assume an unfaltering stance of prayer to temporarily boost poise, damage reduced while activated. It requires 12 strength and 7 dexterity to wield. The Spear, common short spear that allows attacking with the shield up. Spear attacks are centered on thrusting but can inflict high damage when timed with the end of an enemy's swing. Its skill is Shield Splitter. Take a large step forward and make a single focused thrust to puncture enemy shields and inflict damage. It requires 11 strength and 10 dexterity to wield. Standard crossbow wielded by common soldiers must be readied before firing. Bolts must be equipped in order to use crossbows. Up to 2 kinds of bolts can be equipped at a time, and these can be switched between as necessary. Its skill is Tackle. Lunge into a shoulder tackle, pushing back enemies to create distance. It requires 10 strength and 8 dexterity to wield. A very small round metal shield. It features a large central protrusion designed for parrying attacks. Its skill is Parry. Repel an attack at the right time to follow up with a critical hit. Works while equipped knee in hand. It requires 7 strength and 13 dexterity to wield. Elkhorn Round Shield. Standard round wooden shield. The blue antlers are reminiscent of designs found in Mirror. Wooden shields are light, manageable, and offer relatively high magic absorption. Its skill is also Parry. It requires 8 strength to wield. Round Shield. Standard round wooden shield. Its skill is Parry. And it also requires 8 strength to wield. Kite Shield, an orthodox metal shield. Medium shields are the most average of shields, providing a practical balance of damage absorption, stability, and weight. Its skill is also Parry. It requires 12 strength to wield. A sturdy helm made of iron, used by warriors of old, but one can still expect sound defense. It is never unwise to wear a sturdy form of head protection against arrows and other semantic threats. Hard leather armor. Armor made of thick, layered leather, used by warriors of old, but one can still expect sound defense. Hard leather gauntlets made of thick leather. Hard leather boots made of thick leather. Thief mask worn by those with something to hide, used to conceal the face, muffle the voice, and go by the cover of darkness. Fire arrow shoots arrows with burning tips, dealing fire damage.
Goodbye, and stay safe. Oh, this place is a bore. What good is thievery if you've nowhere to go?
Alright, so now to head up the tower and collect the remaining items. I forgot to trade the large leather shield with Snuggly, so I'm going to do that now.
You. Me, Pickle Pea. Me, Bumperum. Bumperum.
Be sure to pick up the Firekeeper's soul at the top of the tower. Giving it to our Firekeeper will gift her with the ability to cure the Dark Sigil. This, together with another item called the Firekeeper's Eyes, will allow us to achieve an alternate ending to the game. However, if you wish to unlock another third alternate ending, don't give her the soul just yet. The endings are all mutually exclusive, so only one can be achieved in each playthrough, but my plan is to have them all viable until the last moment, where I'll make a hard save and complete them all so as to collect all the trophies in one run. I'm not sure that's even possible just yet, but I suppose we'll find out. That's all the items for this video. The rest of the video contains some more item descriptions along with preparations for the next level. Binoculars made of brass, used to peer at distant scenery. Their utility is singular, but applications many. The value of these specs depends greatly on the imagination of the owner. Cracked Red-Eye Orb, online play item, allows a single invasion of another world. Defeat the host of embers of the world you've invaded to gain strength of the fire. The Cracked Red-Eye Orb is far from perfect, it seems, as Ringfinger Leonhard knows all too well. Soul of the Dancer, one of the twisted souls steeped in strength. Used to acquire many souls or transposed to extract its true strength. The Pontiff Sullivan bestowed a double-slashing sword upon a distant daughter of the former royal family, ordering her to serve first as a dancer and then as an outrider knight, the equivalent to exile. Raw Gem, a gem of infused Titanite forged the weapons of Lothric foot soldiers, used in infusion to create raw weapons. Raw weapons are easily wielded and have higher attack but lose scaling effects. Refined Gem, a gem of infused Titanite forged the weapons of Lothric knights, used in infusion to create refined weapons. Refined weapons are difficult to wield properly and scale effectively with strength and dexterity. Twinkling Titanite for weapon reinforcement. Reinforced weapons deep in strength to +4. These unique weapons cannot be reinforced with ordinary Titanite, nor can they be infused, unless one uses this Twinkling Titanite, which reinforces these weapons without unraveling their inert strength. Titanite Chunk for weapon reinforcement reinforces weapons to +9. Few records of chunks exist, and once one was discovered in Lothric, the race to locate legendary slabs began, but there have been no reports of success. Large Titanite Shard for weapon reinforcement, a larger shard that reinforces weapons to +6. Titanite shards are fragments of legendary slabs. Titanite is etched into weapons to reinforce. Firekeeper's Soul, soul of a Firekeeper who is said to have returned from the Abyss. This Firekeeper preserves the Bonfire and serves its champion. She is said to have soothed and accepted the Dark Sigil, which has tainted her soul, and yet, her soul will one day embed itself in the bosom of another Firekeeper. Cell key, key to a cell holding thieves and the like. There is no shortage of brash thieves in Lothric, and these particular thieves likely scale the walls from the undead settlement, but they are only willing to practice their thievery on the high wall, for their fear of Lothric Castle, rumoured to devour men, keeps them clear of its grounds. Small Lothric banner, small banner held by Lothric messengers, hold up outside the main castle gate to be greeted by an escort. When the high wall appeared, the path to the undead settlement was blocked, and messengers came bearing this banner. They were sent out with a duty, but had no way of returning. Basin of Vows, chalice used in an old ceremony in which Lothric knights take their vows. It's only a formality now, but remains as an empty practice. Place this basin at a statue of a beheading knight. The Mailbreaker, a small sword made for thrusting attacks. This hard, edgeless sword can pierce through tough armor and boasts a deadly critical attack. Its skill is Shield Splitter. Aim carefully and attack in a large forward lunge to pierce through enemy shields and inflict damage directly. It requires 7 strength and 12 dexterity to wield. The Broadsword, a straight sword with a broad blade designed for slashing. A large sweeping attack makes this effective against crowds, but is prone to deflection from walls and narrow spaces. Its skill is also stance. It requires 10 strength and 10 dexterity to wield. Astora's Straight Sword, a well-crafted sword named after their ruined land. Astora, before its fall, was a land replenished with royal blood, and this weapon is both a reminder and an heirloom of that era. Its skill is also stance. It requires 10 strength, 10 dexterity, and 12 faith to wield. The Claymore, an unusually large, heavy greatsword normally wielded with 2 hands. This highly versatile weapon can be swung broadly or thrusted. Its skill is stance. It requires 16 strength and 13 dexterity to wield. The Rapier, a lightweight thrusting sword used in noble duels employing refined techniques. The primary attack of a thrusting sword is a series of stabs that render foes vulnerable for a devastating final thrust. It can also attack with the shield up. Its skill is stance. From stance, use normal attack to backstep and execute a surprise attack or a strong attack for consecutive thrusting. This requires 7 strength and 12 dexterity to wield. The Battle Axe, easily wielded axe crafted for battle and inflicting standard damage. Its weight can be used to inflict high damage, but must be used carefully as it leaves its wielder open to retaliation. Its skill is Warcry. It requires 12 strength and 8 dexterity to wield. The Club, a simple wooden club characterized by savage leaping attacks. This crude bladed strike weapon is effective against most foes and can break the guard of a shield. Its skill is also Warcry. It requires 10 strength to wield. The Lucerne, a polearm with a sharp, hard, prolonged head that inflicts thrust attacks. The Lucerne is wielded overhand like a hammer, or can be swung from side to side to break through shields. Its skill is Spin Sweep. Sweep foes in a large spinning motion and utilize momentum to transition into an overhanded, strong attack smash. It requires 15 strength and 13 dexterity to wield. Longbow commonly used by hunters. Arrows must be equipped in order to use bows. Up to 2 kinds of arrows can be equipped at a time, and these can be switched as necessary. Skill is Puncture. Pull the arrow even further back for a more powerful shot that can also pierce shields. It requires 9 strength and 14 dexterity to wield. Silver Eagle Kite Shield. Orthodox metal shield engraved with a crest depicting a silver eagle. Medium shields are the most average of shields, providing a practical balance of damage absorption, stability, and weight. Its skill is Weapon Skill. Equipping the shield in the left hand allows one to perform the skill of the right hand weapon. It requires 11 strength to wield. The Firekeeper Robe. Robe worn by the Guardian of the Shrine. The Firekeepers were robbed of light, to better serve as vessels for souls. Only those who cherished the writhing, searing darkness were given the Keeper's black attire. Firekeeper Gloves, manchettes worn by the Guardian of the Shrine. Iron Bracelets, durable iron bracelets protecting the wearer's wrist, said to be the bracelets of a Knight of Sunlight from a previous age. Has no particular powers but are of fine quality and evidently well taken care of. Lothric Knight Leggings. Armour of a celebrated Lothric Knight. Strong steel leggings, if a little scratched. The Knight has served as one of the 3 pillars since ancient times, and shares a place alongside the wyverns as a symbol of Lothric. Only those possessing a Knight's resolve are fit to wear this garment. Firekeeper Skirts. Skirts worn by the Guardian of the Shrine. Blue Tearstone Ring. A ring set with a large rare tearstone jewel. Temporarily boosts damage absorption when HP is low. The stone is said to be a tear of sorrow of the goddess Kirta. And of course, tears are always more beautiful near death. The Ring of Sacrifice. This mystical ring was created in the sacrificial rite of Velka, the goddess of sin. Its wearer will lose nothing upon death, but the ring itself breaks. A sacrifice is only worth as much as the life it spares. Estus Ring. A green ring crafted from shards, increases HP restored by Estus flasks. This rune was entrusted to a certain Firekeeper, but in the end she never met her champion, and the ensuing tragic farce became a favourite tale of the masses. Way of the Blue, pale blue sheepskin parchment featuring an illustration of the moon, symbol of an ancient accord. Members of the Way of the Blue are beneficiaries of an ancient accord. When a dark spirit threatens them, a blue spirit will grant them assistance and help to root out invaders. Summoning takes place automatically while this is equipped. Yeah, now I feel like a badass mofo from the Fellowship. Sure, it's a girl hero, but that never stopped Prince or MJ. In this game, I live by one simple rule: fashion souls forever.